Welcome to APA Formatting. Hello, my name is Dr. Michael Hilly, and I've been teaching in higher education for the past 15 years. After teaching in the areas of undergraduate, graduate, and doctoral courses, I've had the privilege and the opportunity to grade hundreds, if not thousands, of student papers. And I've noticed a trend in grading those papers that is consistently noticeable throughout. One is in the area of content. Most students do well with the content of a paper. The second part is in the area of mechanics, where they use grammar, sentence structure, punctuation, and so forth. Most students start to experience problems in formatting their paper when they attempt to use APA. Now, APA is not something new. It's been around for 90 years. In 1929, the American Psychological Association originated a standard by which academic papers would be written. Now, what I want to do in this short video is to give you some general APA guidelines, including the title page, the abstract, the main body of the paper, and the reference page, and then show you how to properly format the paper as we progress through the video. General APA guidelines. You want to make sure that your paper has 1-inch margins all the way around. The top, the bottom, the left, the right, 1-inch margins. You want to make sure that you double space your paper throughout. It doesn't matter if you feel like doing an extra half space or doing a single space. Don't do it. Double space your paper. Use the same font throughout. 12-point Times New Roman font is the acceptable font that one can use when formatting an APA academic paper. You can use Arial, but I suggest just using one font and staying with it. That's one less decision you have to make for the next paper. Now, an academic paper will include 3 and possibly 4 sections. First is the title page. We'll go over how to format the title page. If it's required, an abstract and what it looks like and how to format the abstract. Then the main body of the paper, which will be what it is your paper is about, the content, and so forth. And then you want to make sure that you reference your paper with scholarly, peer-reviewed references to validate the assertions that you've made in the paper. Let's look first at the title page. On page 1, you're going to start in the upper left-hand corner to include a running head. That's basically the title of your paper. And then in the right-hand corner, you want to begin your page numbers. Begin the title page with page 1. You want to scroll down to approximately the middle of the page, and you want to put the title of the paper there, center tab. Underneath the title of the paper, you want to put your name there. You want to get credit for this, right? So make sure your name is on the paper so the instructor doesn't have to guess who it is that wrote this paper with such a high quality of excellence. Underneath your name, the institutional affiliation, the university of, or whatever college you're attending. And then you want to make sure that you use the instructor's name, and in doing so, do not use salutations. It's not Mr. or Mrs. or Professor or Facilitator. It is permissible to use doctor if the instructor has a doctorate. However, it's usually safe to use just the first and the last name. If you use an abstract, if it's required, you want to begin the abstract at the top of page 2. You want to center the word abstract with no bold font, no underlining, no italics, no quotation marks, just a very, very boring looking word in the center of the page, abstract. Double space. Do not indent. And for the next 150 to 250 words, you want to write a concise summary of the key points of your paper. After you get through with the key points of the paper, drop down. Let's see, how many spaces is that? Oh, double spaced. And then you want to turn on the italics print. Tab over 5 to 7 spaces, and then type in the word keywords, colon, and then several of the keywords that you've used in your paper. This lets the reader know at just a glance what it is that you're going to be addressing in this paper. So now you've got your title page formatted, you've got your abstract done. Now it's time to really get to work and look at the main body of the paper. If you used an abstract, go to the top of page 3. If you did not use an abstract, you're now at page 2. And what you want to do is have the title of your paper centered on the first line, double space, indent 5 to 7 spaces, and now you're ready to write. What you're going to do is write first an introduction. This is going to let the reader know what it is you're going to tell them. Then you're going to write the main body of the paper. You're telling them what it is you were going to tell them. And then, to finish it up, you want to provide a conclusion. Tell them what you told them. So the introduction, tell them what you're going to tell them. The main body of the paper, tell them. The conclusion, tell them what it is you told them. That is your academic paper. Now, what you want to do is make sure that you write your paper in third person. We are so used to writing in first person and using personal pronouns like I and you and we and so forth. You want to make sure that you're using third person because nobody cares, honestly, what you and I think about anything. And these are not op-ed pieces. They're not personal opinion pieces. They're not the time to stand up and say what you believe to be true or what you feel to be true. These are academic research papers that are written to inform an audience of something that maybe they had not considered before. So you want to make sure that after you have written the main body of the paper, you've provided a conclusion, you've got your references together, you want to make sure that now everything is lined up appropriately. Your title page, everything is double spaced. Your abstract is lined up well. The main body of your paper is lined up well. Your references begin on the next page after you write your conclusion. And now everything is lined up appropriately. Also, in the main body of the paper, let me tell you a couple of things that I think would be helpful to you. What I notice in student papers, and when we're talking about APA writing, we're usually talking about business papers. When you refer to an organization or a business, do not refer to that organization or business as they or their. It is not a live object. You want to refer to the business or the organization as it or its instead of they or their. Also, as much as we might like to talk in contractions, academic writing does not use contractions. Always write out the word, unless you're using the contraction in a direct quote, and then you can use it if you choose to do so. And that's really not true. You can't use it if you choose to do so, because in a direct quote, that's exactly what it is, a direct quote, word for word, letter for letter, punctuation for punctuation, and so forth. So now, in the main body of the paper, you're going to want to validate what it is that you have written using scholarly, peer-reviewed sources. We don't want to be using Wikipedia. We don't want to be using papers that have been for sale on the internet. We don't want to use Investopedia. In fact, we don't want to use any pedias at all. We want scholarly, peer-reviewed articles that validate the assertions that you've made in the paper. So what you want to do is in the in-text citation, which is what a citation is, it's in the text of the paper, and it's letting the reader know that while this citation is telling the reader where he or she got the information from, it's also letting them know that there is a full reference down at the bottom of the page, or at the bottom of the paper. For example, if I find information that tells me that APA style is a difficult citation format for first-time learners, and Jones came up with that in 2011, what I'm going to do is write that out, and then to cite it properly, I'm going to use a parenthesis, last name of the author, and the year of publication. But let's say that that's a direct quote that Jones used, where he states, APA style is a difficult citation format for first-time learners. I've got to add something to Jones's name and the year of publication, and that is a page number. I have students often that will say, well, there are no page numbers. Then you're going to have to get your calculator out and count the paragraphs that are used. A direct quote must have a page or a paragraph number, letting the reader know exactly where that quote came from. Now, here's a great rule of thumb to remember. If you have a citation, you must have a reference. And if you have a reference, you must have used that reference in the body of the text in the form of a citation. Now let's say you've written the introduction, you've told them what it is you're going to tell them, the main body of the paper is done, you've concluded it by telling them what it is you told them, and now you're going to put your reference page together. Go to the top of the page and type in the word reference. No bold print, no italics, just normal, like the abstract, reference. The first line of the reference is going to be against the left margin. The second line, third line, fourth line, even if you use 10 lines, every one of those lines is going to be indented 5 to 7 spaces. It's called a hanging indentation. Now, you want to begin with the author's last name and alphabetize your references. That's followed by the author's initials, the year of publication, the title of the book or article, and then the journal title, if you did use a journal. For example, down at the bottom here, we have Jones. He's a very popular guy we're using tonight. And it may be Jeanette Jones, I don't know. But anyway, his name's Jones, comma, initials are JR. You want to put the title of the book or the article, and then you want to put journal information if it exists. For example, if you use a book, what you're going to do is use the author's last name, the initials, the year of publication in parenthesis, and the title of the article or the title of the book is going to be in italics. Then you want to put in normal print the location where the book was published and the publisher's name. If it's a journal article, again, author's last name, first initials, the year of publication, the title of the article, but now instead of using the title of the article written in italics, you want to use normal print, and the italics are going to be used in the title of the journal and the volume number. Shortly after that, you're going to put in parentheses the issue number and the pages of that particular journal article. If it includes a DOI number, you want to include that. If not, you can put retrieved from https : / and then wherever it is that you came up with that article. For example, you have Harlow, last name, initials HF, year of publication 1983. Then you have the title of the article, Fundamentals for Preparing Psychology Journal Articles. Then you want to click on the italics tab, and the title of the journal is the Journal of Comparative and Physiological Psychology, volume number 55, comma, and then on this particular reference, the page numbers, 893 to 896. Shows where you retrieved it from, https : www.psychology.org, then a DOI number. You may not believe it right now, but APA formatting is going to be the easiest style of writing that you will ever use. See, I told you wouldn't believe me, because you're thinking, I can't quite get this down. Well, listen, here's the thing. APA formatting has been around for 90 years. It's not going to change tomorrow. It's not going to change next year. It's not even going to change before your degree program's over. It's going to be the same style of writing every single time. You don't even have to think about it anymore. You learn APA, now all you have to do is focus on the content. But APA is going to stay consistent throughout. It's not going to change. It's an academic paper. It's not an op-ed piece, as I said. And right now, I'm going to assume that you are a good writer. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't be in the program that you're in. But I know you're a good writer. But you don't want to be a good writer. You want to strive for that level of greatness and excellence in your academic papers. And there's a reason for that. First of all, you're providing other people with information. But more importantly, that information is going to have your name on it. And it's going to represent you. And you want to make sure that you are producing the highest quality of work that can be done in your particular area. Best wishes in APA Made Easy, and I look forward to reading your work sometime.